People are going to find this exhibition surprising, provocative, and playful. The title of the exhibition, Abstract Erotic, comes from the really important feminist curator and art critic Lucy Lippard, who in 1966 brought Louise Bourgeois, Eva Hesse and Alice Adams together for the first time in a small group exhibition she curated called Eccentric Abstraction.
They were pioneering because they used unexpected materials in unexpected ways. It's the sense of experimentation that these artists took to those materials, scavenging them on the street or buying them in hardware stores and then playing with them in the studio.
All of these artists are working in and around the same neighbourhoods in New York, and it's at this moment that the minimalist work of art is really beginning to emerge on the art scene. This is a generation that are thinking about art and its limits in radically new ways.
Hesse's career was very short, extremely intense, and very prolific. The works on display are characteristic of her insatiable curiosity, experimentation, and the intensity with which she worked through her ideas and just produced. Alice Adams transforms the materials that she uses. Construction materials, industrial materials, sort of macho materials in a way, hard materials, and she gives them flexibility. And for her, flexibility and pliability is a sort of strength, much more so, she says at the time, than hardness. She transforms these materials into sculpture that is sensuous.
What Lippard was interested in was finding this new sculptural language that Bourgeois, Hesse and Adams were developing. They're all interested in, on the one hand, an insistent abstraction, but on the other, what Lippard recognised kind of playfully as erotic engagement with body parts, with body forms, with the idea of soft and undulating surfaces and textures. Perhaps the better known of the trio, Bourgeois begins to work with plaster and latex in the early 1960s, and it radically transforms her practice.
Louise Bourgeois had always approached themes of eroticism and the unconscious in her work, but when she starts using new materials, they brought a sort of new sense of urgency to that expression. The materials allowed her to create forms that were soft and yielding.
She begins to make these very unusual, some critics said almost ugly, latex and plaster forms, and they were so different to what had come before. This is sculpture that pulsates with precisely that language of the abstract erotic.
Bourgeois is an artist who forever plays with the viewer and plays with expectations and shows you one thing and then says it's another.
The work by these artists feels so incredibly contemporary and urgent still because of the questions they posed about how we see difference, about how we can imagine bodies differently, about the erotic not as specifically named or pinned down, but as open, as polymorphous, as changeable.
To bring these three artists together in one room, it's thrilling. And we hope that visitors will make connections and will be immersed in a very direct experience, a kind of open experience.
These works aren't prescriptive, they are provocative. They somehow provoke you to imagine what that tactile encounter might be. And for Lippard, this in part is what the abstract erotic appeal of a sculpture might be, that invitation to imagine your own physical encounter with that work.